Comment, like, subscribe. The bell keeps you notified. It helps the show thrive. Christianity is the largest religion on our planet, with there being well over 2 billion followers of the religion. That's around 1/4 of everybody on Earth. Though these 2 billion plus followers do not all follow the exact same kind of Christianity. Over the 2000 plus year history of Christianity, the religion has branched out in different ways. Different people have interpreted the messages of the religion, which has led to groups of Christians worshipping differently. Christianity has its roots fundamentally in worshipping in a different way to other followers of a religion. Early Christianity was little more than just another sect of Judaism, before it eventually branched off so much that it split into its own thing. These different types of Christianity are often referred to as sects, but the more proper correct name for them is denominations. This word of denomination is of Latin root and can be used in fields other than just Christianity. The former part of the word is a prefix meaning to go down from, with the latter part coming from the Latin word for name, nomen, so it means something like to list down names, which makes sense as denominations are the names of subjects of things when it gets broken down into smaller areas. You may be wondering how on earth all these different kinds of Christianity get along, and that answer is that it varies from denomination to denomination and from place to place. On the whole, different denominations of Christianity get along fine, with there being few issues. Sometimes, however, tensions can rise between followers of different Christian denominations. Perhaps the most noticeable example of this being the issues between different denominations on the island of Ireland. However, those troubles are also fueled by politics and history too. It is also worth noting that in some cases, these denominations of Christianity split down into even smaller denominations of Christianity too. You have huge denominations like Catholicism to much smaller ones like Quakers or even the Plymouth Brethren. So let's find out how the different denominations of this huge religion, which all boils down to the following of a Mr. J. Christ, got their names. So to start with, it is worth addressing the fact that Christianity breaks down into 3 main denominations, and there's actually a 4th main denomination that is much smaller than these 3, which we'll mention in a bit. But those main 3 are Catholicism, Protestantism, and Orthodoxy. Something you'll hear me say often in this video is ism. Most of these denomination names actually started life as adjectives, e.g. Catholic Church or Protestant Reforms. This ism suffix was added to make them into names, and it comes from the Greek ismos, which means a practice or teaching. I will probably flip between using these words in their noun and adjective form throughout this video, but you're all pretty smart people, so I'm sure you'll manage. Let's kick things off, shall we, with the largest of the denominations, Catholicism. The Catholic Church can be seen as the most traditional original form of Christianity on our planet today. It is the denomination with the Pope as its head and run by bishops across the globe. It's kind of from the Catholic Church in which all other denominations of Christianity branched out from to a degree. As Wikipedia puts it, it maintains that it practices the original Christian faith taught by the apostles, preserving the faith infallibly through scripture and sacred tradition, as authentically interpreted through the magisterium of the church. As this is seen as pretty much the initial form of Christianity, for the longest time it didn't really have a unique name. It was just Christianity. The earliest recording we have of the word Catholic comes from 107 AD and was written by Saint Ignatius of Antioch. In Church Latin it was Catholicus, which means universal/general, as in the Roman Empire it was hoping to become the universal religion. Of course, in 107 AD, Christianity was still a pretty small thing. It would take a few more centuries until the religion became universal in the empire under Constantine. If you are interested in finding out how Christianity took shape, it is something we have looked into in the podcast I co-host, AD History. There are a handful of episodes covering elements of early Christian history, which you should go listen to. In fact, just go listen to all of it. It's a great show. What's interesting is that we also have terms like Roman Catholic too. This of course comes from the fact that the Romans were central to the spread of Christianity. The head of the Catholic Church still resides within a small country within the city of Rome to this day. What this means exactly is kind of debated. Some sources say that Roman Catholic is just another name for the Catholic Church as a whole, while other sources say it refers to just those Catholics in Rome themselves. What's interesting is that the name Roman Catholic is never actually used by the Catholic Church itself. They instead call themselves just that, the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church does not break down into any smaller denominations, however, but while it has no smaller denominations, it does contain the Society of Jesus, who are known as the Jesuits. These are priests who oppose other forms of Christianity and heavily promote Catholicism. Their name comes from the Latin Jesuita, which derives from the society's Latin name, Societas Jesu. The first big split in the religion, which in turn created the next big denomination of Christianity, happened in 1054 AD. This was with an event called the Great Schism. This was when the Patriarch of Constantinople, Michael Cyrillarius, was excommunicated from the church, which was based in Rome. Before this moment, there had been a shift in Christianity in the West, led by Rome, and the Christianity in the East, led in Constantinople. This excommunication was the final straw and led to a formal division in the kind of Christianity they followed. The West stuck with Catholicism that was headed up in Rome, and the Christianity that was followed in the East became known as Eastern Orthodoxy, which is of course one of those big aforementioned denominations of the religion. Orthodox is a word that derives from two Greek word forming elements, those being the word ortho meaning true / right, and doxa meaning opinion. So orthodox literally means the right / true opinion. Eastern Orthodoxy differs itself from the Catholic Church in a variety of ways. One of the more notable ways being the fact that they have no single head like the Pope, but rather churches self-govern themselves. Since the word's inception, however, Orthodox has found itself used outside of Christianity, such as there being Orthodox Judaism too. Orthodox can be used in general speech too, when someone does something in an expected way. Eastern Orthodoxy does split into smaller denominations, however these smaller denominations, while different to one another, do not have the most unique names. They are instead normally just named after where they are followed, such as the denomination of the Russian Orthodox Church, which is found in Russia, or the Bulgarian Orthodox Church, which is found in Bulgaria. Some Eastern Orthodox churches skip the word Orthodox altogether, like the Church of Greece or Church of Cyprus, which are still Eastern Orthodox, despite the lack of those words in their name. And what's perhaps most interesting about the Eastern Orthodox Church is that they officially don't use that name. They officially call themselves the Orthodox Catholic Church, as they see themselves as the true Catholic Church that has followed a more truthful Orthodox way. As I hinted towards, there is another major denomination aside from those big three of Catholic, Protestant and Eastern Orthodoxy, that being Oriental Orthodoxy. This is by far the smallest of the four, with around just 62 million followers split across East Africa and Asia. It's also not as noteworthy as its name isn't too unique, using the word Orthodox once again along with Orient, which just means Eastern too. It would take around 500 years after the formation of the Eastern Orthodox Church for the next big denomination to come about, however. In the 15th century, German teacher and monk Martin Luther grew tired with the Catholic Church and the ways in which it worshipped. For a full explanation, we have a video all about Luther and how his influence helped form the modern language of German. Anyway, fed up with the Catholic Church, he formed his own denomination of Christianity, called of course Protestantism. This denomination of Christianity focuses more on the Bible itself and its words, as opposed to any people like a pope. Its name is pretty self-explanatory. This denomination was created in protest of the Catholic Church, and that protest formed the name Protestant. As Protestantism was all about there not being a single body controlling worship and being all about interpreting the Bible, it allowed for many different denominations of this larger denomination to form. Protestantism by far has the most denominations, to the point that unlike the Catholic Church or the Eastern Orthodox Church, there isn't just a single Protestant church that people are a part of. People are part of one of its many denominations as opposed to Protestantism itself. We definitely won't be covering all the types of Protestantism in this video, I'm afraid. Even some of these denominations I'll be covering branch into even smaller denominations. It seems that the biggest and most well-known of Protestant denomination is Anglicanism. This version of Protestantism was formed in England around the time of the Reformation in the 16th century. The popular theory is that Henry VIII invented Anglicanism himself after splitting with the Catholic Church because he wanted a divorce. While the crux of that story is somewhat true, there's a lot more to it than that. Though the name of Anglican comes directly from England, Anglo has been the adjective referring to something from England ever since the Anglo-Saxons started calling this island their home after the fall of Roman Britain. The denomination of Anglican, as mentioned, has broken into smaller denominations too, like the Church of England. The Baptist Church is another popular Protestant denomination. It seems the focus of Baptist is less on the church itself and more on the people within it. The name of course relates to the tradition of baptism, in which people are plunged into water to become part of the church. This word comes from the Greek baptizine, which means immerse in water. The Lutheran Church of course is the denomination of Protestantism that follows the teaching of Martin Luther more closely, hence why it is named after him. There are others like this too, such as Calvinism, a Protestant denomination named after one John Calvin, a French theologian of the 16th century. The Methodist denomination of Protestantism also came about during the Reformation. It gained this name due to the very strict rules and methods that its followers used to determine their religious convictions. The Presbyterian Protestant Church has an emphasis on the sovereignty of God and authority of the scriptures of their religion. This name comes from the Latin praebester, which means elder. I imagine due to the elder authority God has over this denomination. Evangelicalism is a Protestant denomination that has a deep focus on people being born again through an experience that connects them with God. They also have a big belief in spreading their religion, which explains where their name comes from, as it derives from the Greek euangelist, meaning to bring good news. As to them, spreading the faith is spreading good news. Plymouth Brethren is a much more unique denomination of Protestantism. Members of this church seem to follow a stricter, more Christian lifestyle and live among just other Plymouth Brethren in more traditional, simplistic ways. The name comes from the fact that despite originating in Dublin, their first meeting was in Plymouth in the UK. Quakers are somewhat similar too, Protestant Christians who too strive for a simple lifestyle and are devoted to God. Quakers are so devout to God in fact that they shake in awe of him. At least that's where their name comes from anyway, deriving from the verb of quake meaning to shake, as Quakers quake in awe of God. They make some good oats too, I guess. This is far from all the kinds of Protestantism, but even outside of Catholicism, Protestantism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Oriental Orthodoxy, we have other Christian denominations, one of those being Jehovah's Witnesses. They believe in the complete authority of God, with Jesus just being his agent. Jehovah itself is just another name for God, which they believe to be God's true actual name. And while they haven't seen God himself, the witness part relates to the idea of believing in God. Though perhaps one of the most well-known of the alternative Christian denominations is the Church of the Latter-day Saints, what is more commonly known as the Mormon Church. The core of Mormon beliefs is that God sent more than just one prophet to earth, with one of those being Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormon Church and writer of the Book of Mormon, which is an additional holy book to Mormons as well as the Bible. The reason it is called the Church of the Latter-day Saints is because they believed in those further saints like Smith who were born in latter days. And as for the word Mormon itself, well, it's simply a compound of the English word more and the Egyptian word mon, which means good. So it simply means more good, as the Book of Mormon was additional goodness along with the Bible itself. So suffice to say, that is an awful lot of different denominations of Christianity, and as I've stated, this isn't even all of them. With all these variations, it's somewhat easy to understand just how Christianity has become the largest religion in the world. This video topic was suggested by Robert Griffith over on my Patreon. Every Wednesday, I put up a video request post on my Patreon for my awesome patrons to leave video ideas on. I then pick one of those ideas to be turned into a video the following Wednesday. So if you have a great idea for a Name Explain video and wish to enjoy Name Explain videos ad-free as well as get exclusive content, then why not support the channel on Patreon? It takes just $1 a month to help the channel in a huge way and gets you all of these amazing benefits. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, and the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos. $2 a month gets you all that, plus your name here with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/nameexplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT, and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.